Hey everyone, welcome to Reno's World, the place where legends come to life, mysteries get unraveled, and conspiracies are put under the microscope. I'm your host, Reno Reigns, and every week we dive deep into the most intriguing stories from the shadows of history and modern-day urban legends. Today, we're talking about the Manhattan Alien Abduction, a case that has captivated both believers and skeptics alike. Here, we sift through the facts, separate truth from fiction, and explore everything from ancient myths to today's wild conspiracies. If you're as curious as we are, make sure you hit that follow button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and share the journey as we explore the unknown together. Let's get started on another mind-blowing episode of Reno's World. On a cool autumn night in Manhattan, when the city's relentless energy is usually confined to neon signs and distant sirens, an event unfolded that defied conventional explanation. At approximately 2:15 a.m. on October 12, 2023, Evelyn Carter, a 42-year-old resident of Manhattan's Lower East Side, experienced an encounter so extraordinary that it would soon become the epicenter of heated debates, fervent investigations, and an ever-growing body of evidence pointing toward an unworldly event. The abduction unfolds. Evelyn Carter recounts her experience with a clarity that both chills and captivates. "I was returning from a late shift at the hospital when I noticed an unusual brightness in the sky," she recalls in a trembling yet determined voice. According to her testimony, the incident began as she walked along a familiar stretch of her block. The air felt charged, almost electric, as a sudden silence overtook the usual cacophony of city sounds. It was as if time slowed down. The honking of cars, the murmur of distant conversations, everything faded into a surreal quiet, Evelyn explains. Within moments, she saw a luminous object, a perfect, shimmering disk, hovering above a nearby building. The craft was unlike anything I'd ever seen, she describes. It glowed with an eerie, almost hypnotic light, and its surface seemed to ripple like liquid metal. In a heartbeat, a beam of light, intense yet strangely gentle, enveloped her. Evelyn's narrative details the feeling of weightlessness, a sensation that defied the laws of gravity as she felt herself lifted off the ground. "I wasn't scared at first," she admits. "There was a mix of awe and an overwhelming sense of calm, but then reality began to blur." Eyewitness testimonies and immediate reactions. Evelyn's claim of abduction did not exist in isolation. Almost immediately after her experience, other witnesses came forward with corroborating accounts, albeit with subtle variations that painted a broader picture of the incident. Maria Lopez, a resident of the same apartment building where Evelyn was when the abduction occurred, recalls hearing a commotion and then witnessing an otherworldly spectacle from her window. "I saw a bright light sweep across the rooftop, and for a brief moment, there was a silhouette hovering near the edge," Maria states. Her testimony, though not as detailed as Evelyn's, lent credence to the presence of an unidentified phenomenon. Thomas Green, the night security guard on duty at a nearby commercial establishment, reviewed surveillance footage that night and noticed an inexplicable interference in the video feed. "The cameras went haywire around the time of the incident," he says. "There were static bursts and flickering images that resembled a disruption beyond the usual technical glitches." Thomas's account is significant because it adds an objective layer to the subjective experiences of the witnesses. Another vital piece of the puzzle comes from Leonard Jacobs, a taxi driver whose route inadvertently brought him into the unfolding scene. "I was navigating through the area when suddenly, traffic halted, and there was an eerie quiet," Leonard recalls. "I saw police gathering, and amidst it all, there was an odd glow in the sky that I couldn't ignore." His observation of emergency services' sudden appearance and the palpable tension in the air supports the notion that something abnormal was occurring. The evidence: digital footage, photographic anomalies, and physical traces. The digital age has empowered ordinary citizens to document extraordinary events. In the hours following the alleged abduction, several residents managed to capture blurry yet intriguing images and short video clips of the phenomenon. One widely circulated image, taken by an anonymous witness, shows a circular object emitting a diffuse, radiant light against the backdrop of Manhattan's skyline. Though the quality is far from conclusive, experts note that the sheer volume and consistency of these captures are difficult to dismiss. A forensic analysis of the digital files revealed curious anomalies. Investigators noted gaps in metadata timestamps and compression artifacts that initially puzzled experts. While some may interpret these irregularities as tampering, they could also be the result of low light conditions and rapid exposure adjustments typical of smartphone cameras, explains a digital forensic specialist who reviewed the files. Yet, the concurrence of these anomalies across multiple devices suggests that there was more at play than mere technical glitches. In addition to digital evidence, physical traces were reported by local residents. Several witnesses mentioned feeling a sudden drop in temperature as if a cold front had swept in from nowhere. Some even reported faint, lingering smells reminiscent of ozone, a chemical signature that under certain conditions is associated with high-energy electrical discharges. While no definitive chemical analysis was performed on the spot, these environmental markers add yet another dimension to the case. An in-depth interview with Evelyn Carter. In an exclusive interview conducted in a quiet cafe away from prying eyes, Evelyn Carter provided an even more detailed account of her experience. "I remember feeling like I was floating," she said, her eyes reflecting the weight of a memory too vivid to forget. "There was a series of sensations. First, a sudden lightness. Then a complete detachment from the world as I knew it. It was as if I was being shown something far beyond our comprehension." When pressed on the specifics, Evelyn revealed that during her abduction, she encountered beings whose forms were elusive yet mesmerizing. "I saw outlines, almost like silhouettes, moving in synchronization with the craft," she explained. "They communicated not through words, but through impressions, a feeling of reassurance mixed with curiosity." Her description, though ethereal, has sparked considerable debate among both supporters and skeptics. Many ufologists see her account as a genuine interaction with entities that defy conventional understanding, while others argue that her recollections may have been influenced by stress and an overactive imagination. The broader implications of an urban encounter. The Manhattan Alien Abduction is more than just a single event. It is a phenomenon that has shaken the core of urban myth and modern folklore. The incident occurred in a city where rationality and chaos exist side by side, making it fertile ground for both extraordinary experiences and elaborate hoaxes. The convergence of multiple witness accounts, along with the supportive digital and environmental evidence, raises important questions about the nature of the phenomenon. Local authorities were quick to respond. The NYPD dispatched officers immediately after receiving reports, and initial investigations focused on technical malfunctions and potential pranks. However, as more data came to light, including corroborative testimonies and digital irregularities, some within the force began to acknowledge that the incident defied easy explanation. "We're not saying it was an alien abduction," one officer commented, "but there were elements that didn't fit any conventional scenario we've seen before. The ongoing investigation and the call for transparency. The case has now entered a phase of rigorous scrutiny. Independent researchers, along with experts from digital forensics and atmospheric science, are collaborating to re-examine every piece of evidence. The primary goal is to determine whether what Evelyn Carter experienced was indeed an extraterrestrial encounter or a confluence of rare environmental phenomena, psychological stress, and technological artifacts. As this investigation continues, one thing remains indisputable. Evelyn Carter's experience, combined with the testimonies of Maria, Thomas, Leonard, and other witnesses, has sparked a renewed interest in the possibility of unexplained events in the heart of one of the world's busiest cities. For many, the Manhattan Alien Abduction is a reminder of how little we understand about our world and the mysterious forces that might be lurking just beyond the veil of everyday reality. In the coming weeks, I plan to follow up with further interviews, revisit the scene, and engage additional experts to peel back the layers of this perplexing mystery. The investigation is far from over, and while skeptics continue to push for conventional explanations, the emotional depth and consistency of the accounts, especially that of Evelyn Carter, demand a closer look. This story, steeped in both the wonder and terror of the unknown, challenges our perceptions and compels us to question where the boundaries of reality truly lie. The Manhattan Alien Abduction may eventually be explained by mundane phenomena, or it may stand as one of the most compelling cases of extraterrestrial contact ever documented. For now, Evelyn's testimony and the accumulating evidence remain a powerful call to explore the unexplained, to question the everyday, and to remain open to the mysteries that our modern world might still conceal. The Manhattan Alien Abduction, Part 2, Unraveling the Truth Behind the Claims. In the wake of Evelyn Carter's harrowing testimony and the corroborative yet varied accounts from other Manhattan residents, the case quickly escalated into a phenomenon that captivated both believers and skeptics alike. However, as the public's initial shock gives way to a need for rational explanation, it becomes imperative to dissect the evidence, examine alternative interpretations, and ultimately determine whether this event is truly extraterrestrial or a confluence of more earthly factors. In this second installment, I delve into the inconsistencies, explore scientific perspectives, and review expert opinions to debunk, or perhaps contextualize, the extraordinary claims made during that fateful autumn night. Evelyn Carter's recollection of being enveloped by a beam of light and experiencing a sense of floating has long been central to the abduction narrative. However, psychologists and neuroscientists caution that such experiences can be explained by well-documented phenomena. Under stress or fatigue, conditions not uncommon for a hospital worker after a long shift, the brain can misinterpret sensory inputs. Dr. Helena Ortiz, a psychologist specializing in memory distortion, explains, under stress, the brain's ability to accurately record events is compromised. Hallucinatory experiences, especially when combined with sleep deprivation, are not as rare as one might think. This suggests that Evelyn's vivid recollection might be influenced by her mental and physical state at the time. Furthermore, her account of encountering beings that communicate through impressions bears striking similarities to sleep paralysis and hypnagogic hallucinations. While these experiences feel real, they are often rooted in neurological processes rather than extraterrestrial interactions. Inconsistencies in eyewitness accounts. Beyond Evelyn's personal testimony, other witnesses, Maria Lopez, Thomas Green, and Leonard Jacobs, provided statements that reveal inconsistencies when cross-examined. Maria Lopez's claim of seeing a silhouette near the building's edge is intriguing but lacks enough detail to conclusively support the abduction claim. A fleeting glimpse under poor lighting conditions is prone to misinterpretation. Thomas Green, a security guard, reported disruptions in camera feeds and static interference. However, digital forensic experts point out that modern surveillance systems frequently experience glitches. Electronic interference can result from a number of mundane causes: power surges, software updates, or even temporary network failures, explains an independent digital forensic analyst. These common technical issues can be easily misinterpreted as evidence of something more mysterious. Leonard Jacobs, a taxi driver, described an eerie silence and police presence, which some might associate with an emergency. However, sudden street disruptions in New York City are not unusual. Accidents, utility failures, or even routine security measures can create an atmosphere ripe for misinterpretation. When viewed collectively, these accounts seem to reflect the unpredictable nature of an urban environment rather than an otherworldly encounter. Scrutinizing the digital evidence. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Manhattan abduction story is the digital evidence, blurry photos and short video clips supposedly showing the mysterious craft. At first, these images sparked excitement, but forensic experts quickly took a closer look. Turns out, the files have common digital anomalies like time gaps, compression artifacts, and abrupt modifications. A forensic analyst explained, smartphone cameras struggle in low light, often producing noise and artifacts that can look like tampering. What seems like proof of an extraterrestrial event is more likely just the camera trying and failing to adjust to bad lighting. In other words, the so-called digital fingerprints of an alien encounter are more in line with technical glitches than actual evidence of something otherworldly. Environmental and technical explanations. Then there are the physical traces. Witnesses reported a sudden drop in temperature and a faint smell of ozone. Sounds eerie, right? But experts say these could have simple explanations. Manhattan's tightly packed buildings can create weird microclimate shifts, and sudden cold spots can happen due to airflow between skyscrapers. As for the ozone smell, that can come from high-energy electrical discharges like power surges or faulty equipment. Electrical engineers looked into it and found nothing unusual. One expert pointed out, "We see short-lived electrical disturbances all the time due to routine grid fluctuations or maintenance work. The reported irregularities fit right in with how a big city's infrastructure operates." So rather than signs of alien technology, these anomalies might just be the natural byproducts of an urban environment. Expert opinions, the extraordinary versus the ordinary. To get a balanced perspective, I spoke with experts from multiple fields. Digital forensic specialists were clear. While the evidence is interesting, it doesn't meet the high bar required for extraordinary claims. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, one expert reminded me. And so far, everything can be explained by normal technical and environmental factors, meaning there's no need to jump to the alien hypothesis. Atmospheric scientists also weighed in, noting that light reflections, luminous clouds, and other optical effects can create illusions, especially in a high-stress situation. When you mix artificial lighting, city weather, and human perception, it's easy to see how someone might misinterpret what they're seeing as something more otherworldly. So, is the Manhattan abduction proof of extraterrestrial visitors? Or just a mix of digital noise, environmental oddities, and human imagination? The evidence seems to lean toward the latter. The role of social media in public perception. No modern investigation is complete without addressing the influence of digital media. Social platforms played a critical role in amplifying the initial claims of abduction, with images and testimonies spreading rapidly and gaining traction. The viral nature of such content often creates a feedback loop in which subsequent reports and interpretations are biased by the prevailing narrative. Sociologists warn that once a story captures the public's imagination, confirmation bias can lead people to interpret ambiguous data in ways that reinforce the original claim, even when alternative explanations are available. Moreover, the urban legend of alien abductions has a storied history, one that continues to evolve with the advent of new technologies and media. The Manhattan incident is not an isolated case, but rather a reflection of our collective fascination with the unknown, a curiosity that often skews perceptions and fuels sensationalism. Conclusion: a rational perspective on the extraordinary. After a comprehensive review of the evidence, expert testimonies, and alternative explanations, it becomes clear that the Manhattan alien abduction, while a powerful and emotionally charged narrative, can be largely explained by a combination of environmental, technical, and psychological factors. Evelyn Carter's experience, though deeply personal and vivid, may be influenced by stress and the limitations of human perception under duress. The corroborative testimonies, while intriguing, are fraught with inconsistencies that point to more mundane explanations. The digital evidence, when scrutinized under controlled conditions, aligns with common artifacts produced by modern technology rather than any deliberate extraterrestrial signal. In the final analysis, the Manhattan alien abduction appears to be a modern urban legend, a case where the interplay of natural phenomena, human psychology, and the omnipresent influence of digital media has transformed an ordinary night into a tapestry of extraordinary claims. While the allure of the unknown is irresistible, it is essential to approach such events with a critical eye and a commitment to scientific inquiry. The ongoing investigation continues to gather data and re-examine the myriad elements of that night. Until further conclusive evidence emerges, the balance of probability supports a rational explanation over an alien encounter. Nevertheless, the Manhattan incident serves as a powerful reminder of our perennial fascination with the unexplained, urging us to explore the boundaries between myth and reality with both wonder and skepticism. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Reno's World. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the mysterious Manhattan alien abduction. Whether you're a staunch believer or a dedicated skeptic, it's conversations like these that keep the quest for truth alive and kicking. If you love the ride, make sure to smash that follow button, Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments and share this video with fellow truth seekers. Your feedback fuels our journey into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep exploring the legends and mysteries that shape our world. This is Reno Reigns signing off. Catch you on the next mind-blowing episode of Reno's World.